So now I'll be finding the volume for a cylinder and a cone. So we'll be using this formula for cylinder, this formula for cone. Notice in either formula, all you need is the radius and you need the height of the cylinder, which a cylinder looks something like this. So notice the bottom and top, or we can call those our bases, are circular. So it has a radius, whatever length is there is our R, and it has a height. So we need to know how tall the cylinder is. And the formula for cone, same thing. So cone looks something like this, has a circular bottom, or it could be sitting, upright. These cones and cylinders can be any direction. So whether it's up like an ice cream cone and it has its radius at there, or maybe the radius there at the bottom, and then no matter what, it does have a height because we can figure out how tall it is from the very tip top to the center of the circle of its base. So the thing is, you got to remember that height is straight down. It's a vertical distance. It's not the slanted distance here. So we will have our R and we'll have our H. So now let's go ahead and look at a few of the problems on the assignment. Since number one is number one, we haven't done any yet, we'll just do number one. So first, obviously, you need to identify what it is. Is it a cylinder or is it a cone? Hopefully you know it's a cylinder. So the formula for a cylinder is, if we go back, it's volume equals pi r squared h. Notice just that the beginning of the volume formula is the volume for the circle. It's just the height that gives it basically like depth. So that gives it that third dimension. So I'm going to write my formula over here. I'm going to use volume equals pi r squared h. So now I can go ahead and substitute everything I know. I know that I know the radius is 7. Remember, that is the radius since it goes from the middle to an edge of the circle. And then the height is 6. And my pen is a little bit thick there, so I'll just erasing that. So my height here is 6. So I know that this will be 6 and my R will be 7. So I'm going to go ahead and write that so it doesn't look like I'm just cramming it in there. Make sure you guys show your work. So we have our radius squared and then times our height. And it does say round your answers to the nearest hundredth, so we will probably get both a pi form. If we go ahead and put this in a calculator, let me do that really quick. So I get 294 pi as far as the pi form, which is approximately 923.63 if we round to the nearest hundredth. And our units are meters cubed because remember we're doing volume, so it should be meters cubed. So there's my pi form and there is my decimal form. Alright, so let's just go ahead and do another one. We'll do number 2 since number 2 is a cone. And notice the cone formula is 1/3 pi r squared h. So it's very similar to the pyramid that has the 1/3 in it, and then this has the circle formula in it, and then it has the height. So it's very much like the cylinder formula, but it has the 1/3 in front of it. That's the difference there. So let's go ahead and write that. We got volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So basically a cone is 1/3 of the cylinder that would have the same radius and same height. Alright, so first identify that they give us the radius, which is 1 centimeter. And although it's on its side, we consider like the length, or what gives the circle depth, is the height. So the 10 that they're pointing to, that is our height. It's just kind of a cone on its side. So we have volume equals 1/3 pi, radius is 1, squared times a height of 10. Which, if you put that in the calculator, we get that equals 10 pi divided by 3, or approximately 10.47. And our units are centimeters, so we have centimeters cubed. Alright, so there's our pi form, there's our our approximate form or decimal form. So that's one with the cylinder, one with a cone. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of other ones because you guys can obviously do them. They're pretty straightforward. I do want to just point out here on number 3, notice that they're giving you 18 miles, and that is the diameter. So hopefully you recognize that they gave you the diameter. So if the diameter equals 18, that means the radius equals 9. So make sure when you use the formula, you're using a radius of 9. All right. So let me just go ahead and move down to one where it doesn't give us an actual picture or a figure. Let's go ahead and look at one of these down here. So it really doesn't matter which one, but I'll do one with the diameter for the sake of just doing one with the diameter. So let's look at number 10 since I have all that space. It says we have a cylinder with a diameter of 22 miles. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a cylinder. And it really looks like the diameter is longer than the height. So just so it makes sense to me, I'm going to make sure my top is really big. And then we have our height is 9 miles and our diameter is 22. So if I was just drawing a model of this, it would look something like this. A little sketchy, but you know what I mean. So I know it's a cylinder. So volume equals pi r squared h. So we have volume equals pi. Our radius is 11 because our diameter is 22. So that means our radius equals 11. So 11 squared times our height of 9. And now I can go ahead and put that in the calculator. And I get 1,089 pi, which is approximately 3,421.19, and our units are miles cubed. Alright, so that is one without a diagram. I just made my own. So hopefully you go ahead and you're able to work the other problems, and then definitely check your answers with the key, but remember you need to have the work that matches the answers. Don't just try to put something and then have the right answer there. That's pretty obvious, so just make sure you show the work that goes along with getting the correct answer, and if you have any questions, make sure you contact me. Alright, adios.